Welcome to my presentation on diabetic polyneuropathy. My name is Angus Hoadley. Firstly, let's define what diabetic polyneuropathy is. According to Bolton, Grives, and Jervell, diabetic polyneuropathy is the presence of symptoms and/or signs of peripheral nerve dysfunction in people with diabetes after the exclusion of other causes. Now that we have defined what diabetic polyneuropathy is, let's get into the pathophysiology of the disease. About 50% of all people with diabetes suffer from diabetic polyneuropathy. Diabetic polyneuropathy is a disease that affects the peripheral nervous system. Diabetic polyneuropathy is not a single disease, but is an umbrella term for a group of diseases. These can be split into two categories: somatomotor neuropathy, which affects the sensory and motor pathways, and autonomic neuropathy, which affects the autonomic nervous system. Diabetic polyneuropathy is a distal axial degradation disease, which means the disease starts at the most distal part of the body and proceeds proximally till affecting the whole limb or body. This means that it affects the hands and feet first, then progresses to the knees and elbows in the latter stages. The first sign of diabetic polyneuropathy are foot ulcers, as the disease affects the feet first. Foot ulcers are caused by the body putting abnormal pressure on one or more spots of the foot and creating foot ulcers. Signs of diabetic polyneuropathy in the early stages are foot ulcers, mild distal loss of sensation, loss of ankle reflex, Romberg sign, impaired tandem walking, and toe extender weakness. Signs in the late stage are severe loss of sensation, loss of reflex reaction of the ankle and knee, drop foot, and instability of the toe and heel. The symptoms in the early stages are distal numbness, distal pain, gait abnormality, toe weakness, positive neuropathic symptoms, and hypoglycemia. In the late stages are severe numbness, severe pain, easily tripping, gait dysfunction, and frequently falling. Diabetic polyneuropathy affects the distal periphery, so muscles in the hands and feet are affected the most in the early stages of diabetic polyneuropathy, where foot ulcers and loss of vibration occur. Then in the latter stages, proprioception and ankle and knee reflexes are lost. This in turn leads to muscle atrophy of both the feet and hands, as they are not being innervated by the peripheral nerves. It has been found that in a 12-month exercise program, the subjects with diabetic polyneuropathy improved walking performance, but did not improve mobility of their lower limbs. There are many treatments and interventions that can be taken to help with diabetic polyneuropathy. All of these medications that are listed are to help with painful diabetic polyneuropathy. Tricyclic medication are antidepressants that hinder norepinephrine and serotonin uptake. Anticovalence medication affects ion channels, which in turn slows the neurotransmitters. Local anesthetic numbs the sites of pain. Opioids are addictive morphine-like drugs. As well as medication, exercise has been shown to improve repetitive daily tasks like walking. Exercise has also been shown to improve cardiac autonomic neuropathy function, which is one of the most dangerous forms of diabetic polyneuropathy there is. Glucose control can also slow and hinder the progression of diabetic polyneuropathy. In conclusion, diabetic polyneuropathy is a very serious and debilitating disease that affects the distal peripheral nervous system. This in turn creates pathological movement patterns, which are detrimental to daily living. There are many signs and symptoms that can be identified in early and late stages. There are many treatments for diabetic polyneuropathy, and exercise intervention can be key to improving day-to-day tasks. Thank you for watching my presentation on diabetic polyneuropathy.